From 1984 through today, Megatron has been conquering the galaxy and toy shelves. With over 100 different releases, Megatron has transformed into a gun, a tank, a six-changer, and even a sneaker. Today, we're diving into that toy history. From the weird and the wild, to the definitive centerpieces for a serious collection. Whether you're hunting down G1 Chrome, eyeing a masterpiece shelf, or saving up for a voice-activated Robosen behemoth, these are the Megatron figures that can show your loyalty to the Decepticon cause. This is the ultimate Megatron buyer's guide, and it starts now. To understand how far Megatron has come, we have to go back to the beginning where his tyranny began. Let's begin with the figure that started it all, 1984's G1 Megatron. The original Megatron, part warlord, part weapon, all controversy. G1 Megatron transformed from a Walther P-38 pistol into the tyrannical Decepticon leader. Imported from Takara's microchange line, the figure was heavy, sharp-edged, and dangerous looking, just like Megatron was meant to be. But chrome gave way to camo, and by the early 90s, Megatron had traded realism for raw firepower. If G1 Megatron was a menace, G2 Megatron was mayhem. With shifting toy safety laws and a brighter, bolder aesthetic, G2 reintroduced Megatron as a neon green M1 Abrams-style tank, complete with purple camo and electronic sound effects. This was Megatron reimagined for the 90s. Collectors today see it as a turning point, where Megatron's alt mode shifted from firearm to heavy armor, setting a precedent that would last decades. Just a few years later, Megatron would return again, this time in his most unpredictable form yet. Not one alt mode, not two, but 6. 2001's Robots in Disguise Megatron was the Megatron who couldn't decide what he wanted to be, so he became everything. Imported from Japan's Car Robots line, RID Megatron features an ambitious and sometimes confusing gimmick. He could transform into 6 different forms, including a dragon, a bat, a car, and a jet. This toy embraced the early 2000s excess in the best way possible. Big, bright, and chaotic. It's become a cult favorite among fans of wild toy engineering. These early Megatron figures weren't just toys. They captured what made the character iconic. From pistols to tanks, dinosaurs to dragons, they didn't just reflect the time, they redefined what it meant to lead the Decepticon cause. And as Transformers evolved, Megatron got weirder and wilder. Because somewhere between the masterpieces and the war machines, Megatron turned into a sneaker, a Nerf gun, and even a pixelated brick of Creo plastic. There was a time when Megatron showed up in Happy Meals, bot shots, and even as a tiny Mighty Mugs bobblehead. Some transformed, some didn't, some were questionable at best. But each one still carried the name Megatron. A reminder that no matter how strange things got, Megatron was a constant on toy shelves and across the galaxy. And now that we've seen the weird, let's get back to the warriors. Before Siege, before Studio Series, Megatron's modern collecting journey had to start somewhere. And in 2006, Hasbro launched the Classics line, a bold attempt to bring G1 characters back to retail with updated designs. But Megatron was complicated. Classic Megatron was Hasbro's first modern G1-style Megatron, and he turned into a Nerf gun. With a bright red, green, and purple color scheme, the Voyager-class figure dodged toy gun laws by leaning into sci-fi blaster aesthetics. It was clunky, loud, and divisive. Then came the Takara version, with a sleek silver paint, clear red plastic, and a much more G1 faithful feel. Collectors embraced this as the true modern Megatron, and is still sought after today. Around the same time, Hasbro and Takara experimented with scaling Megatron down. These tiny Legends-class figures featured a clean G1 styling and miniature proof that even the Warlord of Cybertron could fit in your pocket. As War for Cybertron brought new Transformers lore into the fold, Hasbro introduced a grittier Megatron to match. This deluxe figure sported a compact, aggressive sculpt with a battle-worn aesthetic, a smaller scale, but a major step towards Cybertronian realism fans would later see in Siege. Then came a breakthrough. The Combiner Wars leader-class G1-inspired Megatron with a full tank mode and imposing scale. While not perfect, it was a fan favorite, and its mold would later be retooled into Armada and IDW-style variants. These early CHUG releases weren't just placeholders, they were prototypes for potential. They paved the way for the Siege era, where everything Megatron would start to come into clear focus. By 2019, the CHUG formula matured. The War for Cybertron trilogy, spanning Siege, Earthrise, and Kingdom, delivered a new vision of Megatron. Siege Megatron was a Cybertronian tank with angular sculpts, cannon-ready and battle-tested. He kicked off the trilogy with a grizzled pre-Earth look. While some fans criticized the tank mode's visible robot kibble, Siege Megatron became the go-to G1 reboot for collectors. But as the battle moved to Earth, so did Megatron's design. Whereas Megatron was Siege refined. The figure reused much of Siege's engineering, but added a cleaner, Earth-style tank mode and a retooled chest and cannon. It wasn't a complete overhaul, but for collectors seeking a truer G1 silhouette, Earthrise delivered the update. Then, everything darkened. The war wasn't just brutal. it was personal. The exclusive Netflix spoiler pack repaint matched Megatron's on-screen appearance from the Netflix trilogy. Darker tones, heavy battle scarring, and a matrix on a chain. He came packed with energon cubes and blast effects, making him one of the most complete display pieces of the era. But not every Megatron came in heavy metal. Some arrived in a smaller scale, but with the same menace. Kingdom series gave us a miniature G1 Megatron reimagined as a core class figure, perfect for Titan display pairings, tight shelves, or collectors on a budget, but still packed with articulation and fusion cannon fury. Each of these figures pushed Megatron to what collectors truly wanted, a warlord built for battle. And with the battlefield established, it was time to confront Megatron's past lives and the ideologies that tore him apart. In most timelines, Megatron falls into tyranny, but in the IDW comics, he climbs out. These stories gave us a Megatron born into oppression, radicalized by brutality, and ultimately haunted by the violence he unleashed. And CHUG gave us the figures to match that journey, from Miner to Gladiator to Autobot. Before the arena, there was the mine. 2023's Rise of Tyranny 2-pack gave us a version of Megatron that captures him as a laborer under the Senate's caste system. And from the mines to the arena. 2024's Legacy United Fractured Friendship 2-pack gave us a Megatron on the edge, reimagined as a Cybertronian gladiator before the Decepticon uprising. This figure comes paired with Orion Pax, capturing the final moments of a friendship that would break the planet in half. But the rebellion didn't bring peace. It only brought more war. These figures didn't just capture Megatron's power, they captured his doubt, his regret, and the question that defined his story. What if the tyrant wanted to change? Not every Megatron shares the same form, but across timelines and continuities, his legacy endured. In 2023, Armada Megatron finally gets his due with the Legacy release, a stunning reimagining of the 2002 classic, complete with tank treads, jagged horns, and the iconic green and purple military shell, whether he's crushing minicons or launching an assault at the heart of Cybertron. But if these previous versions of Megatron were tyrants, the Bayverse version is a monster, spiked, scarred, and transformed across 5 different films. Studio Series gave us the opportunity to collect Megatron as he was meant to be, brutal, cinematic, and unapologetically terrifying. Studio Series 54 Megatron from the 2007 movie was the one that started it all, capturing the jagged, skeletal chaos of Megatron's original movie design. This Voyager-class update is a screen-accurate and display-ready, and a major leap forward. And if Megatron never stays dead, neither does his upgrades. We have Studio Series 13 Revenge of the Fallen Megatron, reborn in the Allspark shadow. This Megatron trades flight for fury, and Studio Series 13 delivers it in full, with shoulder plating, a clawed cannon, and that twisted, resurrected scowl. By the time he returned again, he wasn't just a warlord, he was a machine of pure strategy. Studio Series 34 captures that desperation and decay perfectly. The soft goods cape, the smaller scale, and the head sculpt make this a favorite among Bayverse fans, but evolution has a cost, and in the end, Megatron will become something else entirely. Studio Series 90 renders it with incredible sculpt detail. This figure shows a Megatron not as a tyrant, but as something closer to a dark myth. Across 5 films and 4 bodies, Bayverse Megatron never stopped evolving. Studio Series gave him the treatment he always deserved, not as a villain, but as a nightmare given form. But after decades of tyranny, war, and revolution, we finally arrive back at the beginning. Studio Series 114 gave us a Megatron before the conquest, before the Decepticons. This is Megatron as a friend, a soldier, a symbol waiting to fracture. This figure reimagines the warlord as he appears in Transformers 1. Clean lines, soft curves, and a Cybertronian tank mode that has yet to been scarred by war. The sculpt captures innocence beneath the armor. But as collectors, there's still one more figure we're waiting on. For years, fans have asked, where's the definitive Megatron? Not the tank, not the jet, the 1986 version, the one who faced down Optimus in his final hour. Rumors suggest that a leader class, Studio Series 86 Megatron is coming. While it's ditching the pistol alt mode for a stylized tank, it's keeping the animation model that defined a generation. If true, it could be the elusive, definitive retail Megatron, the one G1 collectors had been waiting decades to put next to Hot Rod, Galvatron, and Starscream. From deluxe to leader, tank to tyrant, the Studio Series line hasn't just preserved Megatron's legacy, it's rewinding it, rebuilding it, and possibly completing it. Across shelves, timelines, and decades, one truth remains. Megatron doesn't just evolve, he endures. From the clunky blasters of the Classics era to the fractured glory of IDW, from beastly alternate futures to cinematic monstrosities, and now to his earliest spark in Transformers 1, and the rumored return to 1986. Megatron has become more than a tyrant. He's a symbol, a blueprint for tyranny, a warlord reborn and plastic in memory, generation after generation. And for collectors, he isn't just a figure. He's a statement of power, of presence, and the part of us that would wonder what we would become if we were forged in war. CHUG may have brought Megatron's legacy to retail shelves, but for collectors chasing precision, presence, and perfection, there's only one way to go: the Masterpiece Shelf. MPO5, the first official Masterpiece Megatron, was ambitious and brutal. Transforming into the Walther P-38 pistol, MPO5 delivered scale accuracy and firepower, but it came at a cost. Thin limbs, fragile joints, and a nightmare transformation sequence turned this icon into a cautionary tale. Still, MPO5 set the tone. Megatron could command presence at any scale. So collectors asked for something better, and Takara answered with perfection. MP36 was a true masterpiece, and the definitive G1 Megatron to date, with animation-accurate sculpting, deep articulation, and an arsenal of accessories, turned this figure into a one-box Megatron museum. Masterpiece Megatron isn't just about nostalgia, it's about dominance, in sculpt, in engineering, and in how a shelf would feel with him standing at the center of it. Not all Megatrons are meant to transform. Some are meant to dominate your shelves, from robotic engineering to sculpted shrines. These are Megatrons that are built not for play, but for awe. The upcoming Deluxe Megatron from 3.0 is crafted in die-cast, built for movement. The figure is all sharp edges, layered plating, and a cold intent, with over 50 points of articulation and LED features. This version delivers cinematic realism without the stress of transformation. For fans of the War for Cybertron trilogy, it's the collector's choice for posing with power. But if you want movement, why settle for posing when you can automate it? Voice-activated, fully motorized, and loaded with LEDs, he doesn't just transform, but what makes it legendary is the potential for an automated Megatron-led shelf. Pair him with Robosen's Optimus Prime, Grimlock, and Bumblebee, all self-transforming and voice-reactive, and suddenly, your display doesn't just look alive. It is. But if you want something even more imposing, statues are the final form. No joints, no limits, just moments locked in sculpt. Prime 1 Studios Megatron spans eras and styles. The live-action Darker Than Moon Megatron kneels under a shrouded cloak, sculpted into despair and decay. PCS Collectibles brings its own flavor with its statue line, whether it's robotic motion, die-cast posability, or hand-sculpted warlords frozen in time. These are Megatrons that don't just complete a collection, they eclipse it. Across generations, timelines, and formats, Megatron endures. As a villain, a tyrant, a revolutionary, and reluctantly, a hero. Whether he's packed away in a blaster card plastic or sealed away in a museum-grade case, Megatron's presence never fades. From the CHUG mainline to masterpiece perfection, from the palm-sized Fury of Legend scale to the statue centerpieces, Megatron has evolved not just through stories, but through sculpts, engineering, and the imaginations of collectors who refuse to settle for anything less than perfection. Some buy Megatron for nostalgia, others for display. But for those who know, Megatron isn't just another piece on the shelf. He is the shelf, a symbol of ambition, a monument to power, and above all, a reminder that no matter what form he takes, peace through tyranny echoes through every chamber of Cybertron and through every collector's room. If this guide helped you find the perfect Megatron for your shelf, or just remind you as why he's one of the greatest villains in pop culture history, hit the like button, share this with a fellow Decepticon loyalist, and subscribe for more deep dives into lore and collector's guides like this. If you have a favorite Megatron figure I didn't mention, drop it in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay handsome.